Hello and welcome to Gamersledge podcast. Come on in, sit down, and relax. I am one of your hosts, the giant floating head in the middle of the screen, the hostess with the mostest. I am Mark, and joining me this week, we have two of my favorite people of all time. Of course, from the Great White North, it's Matt.
Howdy.
And then from the Great White North, about, 60 miles from there?
Ish.
It's Mitchell. How you doing, Mitchell?
Howdy, I'm good.
Good. Well, we have a ton of news to talk about because we did not do podcast last week because Mark was deathly ill, and he's doing somewhat better now. But let's start by going around the room and talking about what we've been playing and watching for the last 2 weeks. And let's start with Mitchell.
Well, I've been watching lots of things, but phone games, it's been Fire Emblem Heroes, Opera Omnia, a little bit of FRK, not much. And then on my 3DS, it's been Alliance Alive, and I tried playing some Dream Drop Distance just because I needed a small Kingdom Hearts fix. After seeing some of the trailers and stuff, I felt like playing some Kingdom Hearts. And then in terms of watching things, I've still been working on One Piece. Haven't made much progress because I've been watching other things too. Started on Iron Fist Season 2. Watched Dragon Pilots, which is a new anime that came out on Netflix. I've been working on Gundam Unicorn. Let's see, what else? I feel like I watched something else, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, I watched the Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Enjoyed that.
Wait, was that the first time you've ever seen it?
Yeah.
What? What? How? How, Matt? How?
I was busy still catching up from the 80s, all right? So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say again, because I cut out during that. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I just said I was still busy catching him up from the 80s, so we hadn't gotten to the early 2000s yet.
That is sad panda right there.
But he got it, so that's good.
Yeah, I got to that. I was like, oh, hey, I've been meaning to see that or watch that at some point because I've heard it's pretty good. And I was like,
you've now only seen the only Michael Cera thing you ever need to see.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's Michael Cera.
Yeah,
he was Scott Pilgrim.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. but one of my favorite things that I saw last week was Scott Pilgrim must be suicidally depressed after seeing how well, or it was Scott and Ramona seeing how well their exes are getting on. And one of them's Captain America and the other one is Captain Marvel. Because Brie Larson is the blonde rocker. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's good stuff.
And then Captain America was the punk leather jacket dude.
Yeah.
The skateboarder or the vegan?
The skateboarder.
No, the skateboarder. The vegan.
That was Chris Evans?
That was Chris Evans. And
the vegan, you should have recognized the vegan too, because
the skateboarder is Superman.
Yeah, well, he was Superman in Superman Returns, but more recently, he is the Atom in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was. I can see that one. The Chris Evans one is harder.
Yeah, the Evans one is harder. I'll give you that.
That one I can now make the face. It's just like, yeah, that's that face. Yeah.
I'm trying to recall. I believe Scott Pilgrim was after Cap 1. Because that was I think that was one of the reasons that I was interested in watching it. Because I went in with zero expectations. But I'm like, it'll have Chris Evans in it. I seem to recall it. Yes, consult the encyclopedia in your pocket.
Yes.
Mitchell, do you even know what an encyclopedia is?
Yes, it's a book. It's a big book of everything with everything inside.
No! See, that's the whole point. It is not a book. It is a bunch of books that you had to buy when
Well, yeah, I know
peddlers
it's a
came
set,
and
but
sold
like
them to you.
you said a encyclopedia, which would mean a singular book from a set of encyclopedias, which would make up the entire information set.
Good try. The whole thing is called an encyclopedia. It is a collective noun. But it was a nice try. I liked it.
It was a good effort, yeah.
I'm still right.
And still a millennial. Yay!
Okay, so July 19th, 2011 was Captain America, the First Avenger.
Okay.
And Scott Pilgrim versus the World is 2010. You are indeed correct. No, Scott Pilgrim was first. Scott Pilgrim was first. Yeah.
Then I'm trying to think of what I had seen him in that I knew who the hell he was.
Chris Evans?
Yeah, because I was at this. Oh, he was in. He was
Human Torch.
Four. Yeah. I try to.
And several other things, but
I try to forget that.
You try to. Well, the second one, the first one's at least watchable.
Nice product.
I don't think I remember it well enough to make comment.
Two more movies we have to watch.
Yeah.
I've probably seen it. I just don't remember it well enough.
Yeah, I know you've seen the first one at least, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what else did you watch? I'm sorry, Mitchell. I derailed you. It's my
no, I think I was just about. Oh, I caught up on BNHA. I watched the last episode, so I'm caught up on that for the time being until they come out with another episode. And I think that's about it.
Matt, how about
you? I lost my. That's weird. Well, let's see. Watching has been pretty low. I watched the latest episode of. Did we hit the season finale or not? I don't remember. Of Killjoys. I recorded Manifest just because I'm interested to see if it's going to be any good or not. I'm kind of leaning toward not, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I'm interested. I'm very interested in it.
I'm interested enough. I recorded it, so.
I mean, it's kind of like an inverse Lost, almost, if you think about it.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see. I know the Good Doctor season 2 started, but we haven't watched that yet. I'm trying to think of what I have watched versus what I've been trying to record.
I'm so far behind on everything.
Yeah, well, I'm still at least a season behind on all the DC shows. So yeah. But let's see. I did watch. I'm either caught up or they're to the season finale. It's really hard to track with these animes whether they're done for the season or whether there's more coming. But Attack on Titan season 3. Holy crap! 42 episodes into the series, they decided to just dump the entire lore on you in 2 episodes, and now we know. Now we know like everything.
I haven't been keeping up with that one, so I'll need to catch up.
Yeah, it's like the entirety of season 2 was a waste. Season 1 was cool, but it was kind of drawn out, and then season 3 is doing this weird setup thing, and you're like, what are they doing? And then all of a sudden, lore.
Info dump.
Have some, and
all you can eat buffet of lore.
Yeah. So so we don't know everything, but we know a lot more in 2 episodes than we've known for the previous 41 or 42 episodes. So that's been interesting now, at least. And then Iron Fist season 2, I'm up to episode 4 or 5. I'm liking it. It's not super fast, but the action sequences are much better than season 1. The script writing is much more even and a step up from what it was in season 1.
Here, let's answer the important question to the people. Is he less of a whiny bitch?
Yes.
He's still got elements of it, but it's not as over the top as it was in season 1.
Because he was super whiny bitch in season 1.
He has acclimated to his environments a lot more than he was in season 1. Okay. So, I'm not going to say there aren't elements of it in there still, but they're definitely way toned down. The impact of Defenders has had a sobering toll on him. So,
cool.
Yeah, and it is it is actually a direct sequel to Defenders, more so than Iron Fist Season 1. So, so yeah, that's pretty much it for watching, because I've been focusing on another type of media that this podcast actually is centered around.
Video games?
Video games, yeah.
What?
Yeah, anyone who can finish this game in 15 hours is insane.
Oh,
even if it finishes just the story mission. But yes, Marvel's Spider-Man, Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man, however many predecessors you want to put on that. I completed the game. I platinumed the game. That was officially my 30th platinum, so it now lives in infamy as a major number.
Congrats.
It was kind of funny because I was looking at the PSN profiles. My first platinum was Infamous. My second platinum was Infamous Second Son, or my 10th, excuse me. My 10th platinum was Infamous Second Son. My 20th platinum was Final Fantasy 15, and my 30th platinum was Spider-Man. So that was, I hit some good ones on the milestones there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
This one was on purpose. I was actually going to play Before the Storm, and I'm like, nope, Spider-Man's got to be my 30th platinum. So, so I held off on that so that that one landed there.
I'm kind of depressed now because I know what my first platinum is, and they're no longer in business no more.
That's far too many studios, so that's not even like a good hint.
That's this week.
It's
this week.
Yeah.
Oh, this week. Oh,
yeah.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure we'll talk more about that.
Yes, we will.
So do we want to talk? Do you want me to do a quick Spider-Man review, or do we want to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get through all the stuff and then do it, or
so I'm gonna. We started this conversation a while back, and you hadn't gotten the game at that point because of bad delivery or whatever, right. and I was like, it's good, but there's something missing, and I think we had that conversation on the podcast where I was. And I actually have put it down and not picked it up, but that is not Spider-Man's fault. I stopped playing games for 2 weeks because I think I got myself into a burnout situation, and right. I'm slowly working my way out of it. But that's got nothing to do with Spider-Man. I was still very much enjoying it when I put it down.
Yeah, and you saw me. I accidentally sent an email to you that I didn't send to you.
It's okay.
But you saw how I categorized it in that email, and to me, this represents a perfect game. Now, perfect does not mean flawless. Perfect does not mean that people won't be able to find things that they aren't super excited about in it. But overall, its ability to span generational and knowledge base. You don't have to be a Spider-Man expert. You don't even have to know Spider-Man's a character to play this game. But much like Marvel movies do, if you do know a little bit more or a lot more, there are just things all over the place that you're just constantly going, oh yeah, okay. Oh, and just little nuggets here and there that they're just little spider nuggets. That they just leave all over the place. And
like the backpacks.
Like the backpacks. Well, I mean, the backpacks are an easy example. Some of the stuff in the backpacks is just great because one, it builds the world for you, right? You get in the feel for what's happened in the previous 8 years prior to where you take on, but it also nods a lot to spider lore from the comics and stuff. So, so I'm gonna let's see. Let's try and hit the main points. Okay, gameplay. Some people will say the battle system is derivative of Arkham. I would say it's inspired by, but a significantly different, and makes more sense to Spider-Man than it did to Batman.
I think it's a little more frenetic.
Supernatural reflex.
What? It's a little more frenetic too.
Yeah,
frenetic and kinetic.
Yeah, it's more active, and that makes sense for the acrobatic style of Spider-Man due to his power set. Yeah. You never reach a point in the game where you feel overpowered. I died in the intro mission.
A lot. I've died a lot in this game.
I only died once in the intro mission, but yeah, I died a lot. And I mean, I'm not talking about going up against big enemies. I'm just talking like regular street gang people, like regular human beings.
Well, to be fair, the game opens with you taking on a major character, and then that major character's
basic
patterns,
attack set.
their pattern and attack set is given to the random thugs, which is like, what? I mean, I guess I get why you put me through that, but why do these guys have that level of power? Does not make sense.
I mean, they don't hit quite as hard as he did, but it's the same attack set.
It's pretty close.
Pretty close. And the rubber banding of the attacks can get a little annoying because you can dodge, and if you don't dodge at just the right time, their punches, even the regular enemies' punches, can track you through your dodge and hit you. So they're almost metahuman, even though they're not supposed to be. So that is a nit, but it fits the game to the extent of giving you a challenge, right? I mean, you don't ever feel truly overpowered in the game, except for one thing, and I don't know if I want to go into that, but oh dear. Okay, there I am. How do I say that? There is some unevenness in the level of difficulty that seems inverse of what it should be, given the power levels of those you're being engaged against. Was I adequately vague there?
I think so, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Let's say there are superpowered beings in this world that don't feel proportionately tougher than the regular thugs on the street as they should.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but again, if they did do that proportionality, the game would probably be impossible because the average thug on the street has a good chance of killing you, especially early on. But as you grow with the game, you level up pretty easy. You're almost guaranteed a level by finishing a story mission in this game. So you level up pretty easily. Every time you level up, you gain a melee damage, you gain some speed, you gain stat boosts. As you learn how to manage the combat system, so you're not just mashing the button. As you learn to incorporate the gadgets that fit your playstyle into how you're fighting, you definitely feel more powerful at the end of Act 1 than you did at the beginning of the game. And you definitely feel more powerful at the end of Act 2 than you did at the end of Act 1. It is a 3-act game, in case anyone didn't, that's not a spoiler, I don't think. Yeah, I enjoyed the combat. I was surprised by it at first, but by the end I greatly enjoyed it, and I felt like I was a master of the system by the end of the game. And similar to web swinging starts out intuitively great. It's fine, it's great, and then but the first thing you do is you just basically go down a straight line, right? So that was easy enough. Starting to try to navigate to places, I was like, oh, I'm not sure I got the, oh, wait, no. And then something clicked, and you just realize basically navigation is just R2 and X. Combinations of R2 and X. That's most of what you end up doing. Sometimes it's R2, L2, but for the most part, navigation is R2 and X as far as web swinging. And then once you get into it and you start able to string together different type of web swings and parkouring off the roofs and running up the walls, the animation and the style of going from swinging to running up a wall is so fluid, you will do it accidentally. But that's fine because it doesn't really impede you. You just get to the top of the roof, you bounce off, and you take off and you go again. So they really nailed that. The story is a comic book story. It is through and through a comic book story, and it will, if you have foibles with the way comic book stories work, you'll have some foibles with this story because it is a comic book story. It was worked on by I forgot the dude's name in Insomniac. But it was Insomniac written, but it was also co-written or inputs by the current writer of Venom. Coates is his last name, but I can't think of his first name. Having a brain dump. And also some input by Dan Slott, who created a lot of the characters that are in here, that are more main to the story. So there's the story, I think, is great. It's got a lot of heart, a lot of emotion, and not only that, it nails all of the characters. This is probably one of the best versions of Mary Jane that there's ever been. They've distilled her down to the core, got rid of some of the things that would make it hard for her to be in the game. But what they ended up by doing that is they really distilled her down to the core of her character and focused on that rather than the frivolous stuff that tends to be what attracts the attention to her character. There's plot twists. Some of them you'll see coming, some of them you won't. Yuri Lowenthal as Spider-Man at one point merged with... Oh, I am just not doing well with names. Who is the voice actor that did the 90s animated series, Mark?
Bruce Dixon.
No, that's not right.
Tim
Barnes?
I don't know.
Christopher Barnes? Maybe? Anyway, he was you know the show I'm talking about. He was the canonical voice in my head of Peter Parker in the early 20s, right? Well, at some point, Yuri and his voice like merged into a single thing in my head, and I can't separate them anymore. But it's dead on. I mean, the fact that they recorded separate lines for the open world discussions for if you were web swinging or not web swinging, so that there's a strained and an unstrained version of every open world line that he can say, just blows my mind. And yet he does it subtly enough so that when he's on the phone web swinging around town talking to Aunt May, he doesn't obviously sound strained because, otherwise she would. So what are you at the middle of the gym while talking to me, or what are you doing? But if you listen to the same line, unstressed and stressed, you can clearly hear a difference. I was totally unaware that the voice actress who plays Yuri,
Sorry.
Well, where is that coming from? Is his wife. So some of the dynamic between the two of them can be attributed to the fact that they've been married for like 9 years or something like that now. But the dynamic between all the characters is great. They did an amazing job with the voice direction and the casting on this. I can't complain about a single one of them. There wasn't one that felt out of place or bad or anything. Yuri is the third guy of the triumvirate who is in everything, so it's nice to see him get a lead because you'll see Troy and you'll see.
Wow, you are really doing bad,
Nolan, yes. Jeez Louise, I am doing horrible tonight. You see them with lead parts more, but Yuri's in probably just as much, if not more, than those guys. But it's not always a lead role. So it was nice to see him get a nice, solid lead role. He nailed it. Same for Tara, his wife. I know she's bigger in the anime world. He is too, but she's even bigger than he is in the anime world. So,
and who does Tara play?
Yuri.
Okay, right. See, because the problem for me, and this is not a real problem, this is just a me with my ear problem, is that I call her Ellie Jane.
Ellie Jane?
Yes, because the voice actress for Mary Jane is the same person who voiced Ellie in The Last of Us, and so I am like morphing them in my head into the same person.
Oh, yeah. Well, Mary Jane, yeah, that's Laura Bailey.
Oh, is that Laura Bailey? I thought it was.
That's Laura Bailey. That is not.
I screwed up then. Yeah,
that's not what's her face. That's Laura Bailey.
I totally thought that was Ellie from.
No, I kept trying to place the voice
Ashley Burch.
The whole time I was sitting there trying to place the voice. I was trying to place the face too because I swear she almost looked like. For Pete's sake, I am doing it again. Beyond Two Souls, Ellen Page. No.
Yeah.
She almost looked like Ellen Page, but not quite. I was sitting there the whole time trying to figure it out. So, Bailey, not Birch.
Dang it.
You're mixing Ashley Birch and Laura Bailey, which people will do. Because Ashley Birch was Horizon.
Oh yeah, I know who. She's the. Okay, yes, I know who she is. Yes, I knew she was on.
She's been in a lot of stuff,
and I think I think I looked at that and saw Critical Role and immediately assumed it was the same person for some reason.
Nah.
So yeah.
So wait, Aloy is Mary Jane?
No. Aloy and Mary Jane are different voice actresses who often seem to get crossed over for some reason.
Okay, gotcha.
And
Aloy was Ashley Birch. Mary Jane was Laura Bailey. Laura Bailey was also Nadine from Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy.
And Laura Bailey also plays in Critical Role with Ashley Page, who is the... No, I've done it again. It's not Ashley Page. That's Ellen Page. It's Ashley...
Ashley something.
Yeah. Yes. Who is the voice actress for Ellie from The Last of Us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a very incestuous industry, is the short answer.
And I guarantee if you were listening to dubs, you would have heard all of these people, because all of these people are very heavily in the anime dub community as well. So,
do you know anyone in particular that... Well, actually, I don't listen to English dub. I listen to Japanese dub, so...
Well, see, and then the voice of the Kingpin also is in Critical Role with Laura Bailey and Ashley Birch.
Mercer was in there somewhere. I saw him credited, but it was an uncredited role. He's in there, but it's an uncredited role, so he's in there too. Yeah, probably one of the cops or something. But yeah, this is. I was surprised to see that Troy and Nolan weren't worked in there somehow. Because they seem to weasel their way into everything, especially PlayStation. But yeah. So what haven't I covered? We covered gameplay.
Score.
We've covered
a score.
Oh, score. Oh, score is in my score, or score is in music.
Score is in your score.
Okay. Well, I do want to hit the music quick.
So it'd be music and presentation and music. So
music and presentation, right?
Yeah.
The music I think was perfect. I keep humming the Spider-Man theme, the main theme. It's very Avengers-esque. It's got similar tonalities to that. It's just like in Batman Lego 2, every time you took off with Superman, that John Williams theme starts playing for Superman. It's just like that. Every time you sling a web and start going off in the sky, that's the strings start going to that theme. And I never got tired of it. Of course, I'm not one to turn off the sound and listen to podcasts or whatever while playing, because I think the sound in the music is an integral part of the experience, but that's me.
You got to push your glasses up when you say that. I'm just saying. There you go. Perfect.
Score. I would. Matt's personal score is a 10, but if I were writing a score as a review for a publication, I would probably go with a 9.5.
I echo that. And the 0.5 is the 0.5 discount for me is of no fault of the game. It's again just that je ne sais quoi of there's something missing, which doesn't, that's not the game's fault. Everything there is really, really good, and like you said, it is not a flawless game, but it is pretty much a perfect game. I don't know why I wouldn't give it a straight up 10, because I give lots of things 10s. I'm not a hard 10. It's that weird pull for me that there's just. And I know they'll probably do something great in the sequel that will bend the rules a lot. But I'm just not... I don't... There's... It's literally paint by numbers.
It is by the numbers, but it is such a finely constructed by the numbers thing. It doesn't feel like a bad thing. The only reason I really give it a half point off is because there are a couple of side quests. They're not the side quests, but there are a couple of side tasks that are just like...
Yeah.
There was one challenge, I kid you not, 90 minutes. 90 minutes for me to get the ultimate ranking on one of those challenges. just. And of course, Keegan did it on his second try, so that was really driving me nuts. This is also Keegan's first.
But that's like a luck. But that's also like a luck factor, though.
Yeah, the Keegan luck is uncanny, but he should be an X-Man. He could be Domino's partner in luck.
Yeah.
That makes
yeah, that's true. Did you see Shatterstar's getting a comic? Anyway,
what?
Yeah. But overall, I am extremely pleased with the game. As someone who's been a lifelong Spider-Man fan, as someone who's been collecting the books since '93, I don't even want to venture to say how many Spider-Man comic books I have, the things I've lived through, the things I've seen. There are some one-liners that I am just busting a gut at that other people would probably just go, okay, whatever. But, there's, early on, do you have a black and white suit? And they just kind of stare at each other quick, and then the thing moves on. It's like, what does that mean? What is that saying?
And I think it's important for a little context. I kind of despise Spider-Man. He is not my favorite character. He is like the farthest down. The only thing that good for me that comes out of Spider-Man comic books are certain characters that came from the books. So for me to give a Spider-Man game a 9.5, I'm like J. Jonah Jameson over here. It's killing me. It's killing me. He's a menace to society. He needs to be shut down. And can I say that the way that they use J. Jonah in this is so good that they've already cannibalized it for the comics coming up. I don't know if you knew that, and that's a little spoilery, but it's so good that they actually had to cannibalize it back for the original comics, which I thought was
it's great, and I know there's a lot of different stuff there, but if you finish the game, and even if you platinum it when you finish, at least swing around the town for a little while longer because there's more. So, I'll leave it at that. There
was one that I remember hearing. I don't remember if it was while you were playing or something, but there's one-liner that goes back to the PS2 games. I think I'm pretty sure
about a kid's balloon. Yeah,
it's like Johnson gets a call. It's like, Spider-Man's swinging by and my kid's balloon was flying away, and he didn't do a dang thing about it.
Yeah, I heard that too.
But yeah, there's the only thing I haven't finished is I don't have all the secret photos yet. I have put 36 hours into the game. As I said, I've 100%ed and platinumed it because the secret photos don't count apparently.
Right.
I think I have like 8 left.
And
oh dear.
Sorry, I had to get something to drink. I'm dying.
Oh, no problem. But yeah, beyond that, I haven't started anything up since then. I've just been watching a couple of those shows I mentioned, so that's really all I've played since the last we talked.
I saw, and it's not in the newsfeed. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not in the newsfeed, but Kevin Feige came out and said this is the start of the Marvel video game universe that's going to rival the cinematic one. I'm like, no, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Stop chasing. Get 2 or 3 of these. I mean, even if you think about it, they released Cap, and then they released Thor. But even then, it's not like they were going, we've got a cinematic universe. They were like, here's Cap, and roll it out. Here's Thor, and roll it out. And then here's this other movie, and roll it out. And then Avengers 1 came around and said, look what we're building upon. For them to come out and say it after 1, no, give me a couple, show me that they're shared universe, and we'll go from there. But I don't think it will be, right? Because if we get an Iron Man game, it's not going to be an alternate Iron Man game, alternate future Iron Man game like this one is. I don't think. So I don't know. And you'll nerd can't resist. Cap was the last movie before Avengers, but I know.
Iron Man was the first movie.
I know.
But sorry, can't help myself. But yeah, I don't know because with different studios doing the games, will they be a shared universe? Obviously, there's illusions. Well, not obviously. There are illusions and proof of other superheroes in the same universe as this Spider-Man. the Sanctum Sanctorum is in New York. Avengers
And
Tower is in New York.
Jessica
there's
Jones,
Jessica Jones and Murdoch and Nelson, and there's all kinds of pointers. Lockjaw is there in the city, not him physically, but a statue of him. So, I mean, this is definitely a larger universe that the Spider-Man is a part of, but this story focuses on Spider-Man. Are they actually going to use this as a launch point for a cohesive universe? Or when he says that, is he just talking about, we're going to provide you with experiences that will make you feel like you're part of the Marvel cinematic type universe thing, where this is the quality level we're shooting for, more than literally this is all taking place in one universe?
Yeah, great question.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I have no idea. But we'll find out in like 5 more years. Whenever Square Square launches the next one.
I'm kind of hoping PSX. That they'll get the exclusive launch.
That would be great, but I don't think that's going to happen. I still don't expect to see that Avengers game for another, 2 years. Easy. I think they just way overshot the initial announcement, and they have got nothing to follow it up. So we'll see.
In 2 years, we could have Spider-Man 2.
We very well could. Let's see what I've played. WWE 2K18. Before I went into my general malaise, I decided to wipe out all of the video game and comic book characters that we've been using to do our show, and I downloaded all New Japan and Impact wrestlers, and I kind of went insane starting to set up all the factions and everything again. I do this from time to time. I've been playing a lot of Marvel Puzzle Quest on the phone. I started Dragon Quest 8. Dragon Quest 11. Excuse me. 8's a little bit old.
A couple years.
That game is beautiful, and it's fun. And I think anyone who's like, I don't want to grind to play an RPG should pick that game up. Because it's super... I don't want to say it's super easy, but there's definitely no grinding involved if you don't.
Isn't that like the antithesis of the Dragon Quest experience?
So you can do it if you want to. But you don't really need to at all. And I don't know how to even put that into words. I'm enjoying it a lot. I think my wife is going to enjoy it too once she sees it. So we'll see about that as well.
So have you been disturbed by how happy all the monsters are to let you kill them?
Yes. It's disturbing. They're all like, yay. I should get creative. My black backdrop is boring. Well, it's okay. I'm not on the screen most of the time, so it's all right. But yeah, it's really good. I'd recommend picking that up if you want an easy RPG. But then, while I was sick, I ended up going for Divinity Original Sin 2 has a mode on it that's called Honor Tactician Mode. And Honor Tactician Mode, honor is spelled with a U in it, so you know they're serious. And Tactician Mode makes it so that if you party wipe, it auto-deletes your save file.
Yeesh.
And you have to start from square one at the beginning again. And so I actually, while I was sick, I ended up starting that, and I've been playing through it. And I did have to restart about 5 times, but now I'm through into Act 2, and I completed everything in Act 1, including finding a new 8-hour quest chain that I'd never seen before on my 79th playthrough of Act 1. But I love the game. It's really coming along. I'm really enjoying this Tactician Mode playthrough. And then the other thing is I didn't watch anything. I watched a little NJPW wrestling, but the craziest thing that I watched is somehow while I was in a haze, I got into The Voice, which I'd never seen before. And I must have mainlined 35 hours of The Voice on YouTube. Oh, and it wasn't America's The Voice. It was The Voice from all over the world. So I watched Russia, I watched the Ukraine, I watched Australia, I watched the UK, I watched France, and I was just absolutely flabbergasted by it, and I really enjoyed it. And so when it comes on this next season, I may have to watch it on whatever, I guess.
I think it's already started.
No, they're gearing up for the next season. I don't think it starts till like mid-October or something.
So I mean, some of the auditions are on YouTube for the 2018.
That's 2018 was last year's. That's last year's.
Oh, that's a weird cycle.
Yeah, they're reposting the old ones from the beginning of last year. So this new series will be called The Voice 2019, and we're not there yet. So
I don't like that.
yeah, I know it's a little weird because I thought it was new too, and I'm like, wow, this is yeah. So, anyways, so yeah, let's talk about the old news. As soon as I figure out how to get it back. All right, play. There we go. All right, so twitter.com/Gamersledge if you'd like to follow along as we play the news. All right, so there's a lot to talk about in the last couple weeks. I'm trying to find out where the last.
And I'm pretty sure we missed some stuff in there too because I still haven't gotten Hootsuite back up and running.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's so much to talk about. So let's see. It shouldn't be before.
It's before that.
Is it before that? Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's before
it's
that.
Right there. It's right there. Okay.
It's right
Great.
there, yeah.
So the PlayStation Classic, 20 preloaded games. No power cable. You're going to plug it into USB to power it. What do we think about this?
I'll let Mitchell go because he was not significantly around during this period as a gamer.
This seems kind of cool. I mean, it depends on what games it's got, but it doesn't seem bad.
I think what's telling is that it comes with the pre-analog stick controller, which was the system I had as an original PlayStation, was the one that came with the pre-analog stick. But I think that tells us that pretty much all the games are going to be early. I mean, I saw Wild Arms on the list of the 5 that they've revealed so far, and that makes, like an almost instant urge because Mitchell will tell you, I will just randomly start whistling the Wild Arms theme song at any point in time, whenever, wherever, however. It's still one of my favorite intros of all time is that animated sequence.
Finished that, and I couldn't because things.
Yeah, but I spent
so much time getting those little tiny little squares, so many minutes and hours trying to figure out, looking up guides to figure out where the heck those little squares were.
The crests, for the spells.
See, I'm glad it comes with Tekken 3. And I'm glad it comes with Final Fantasy 7, but I'd want to know if it's the remake or the original, because now that I've experienced the remake options, I think playing the original would be a little hard, to be honest.
Yeah.
Is it going to have a Suikoden? Because we don't know. And Suikoden 1 or 2 would be the right time frame. We do know it's going to have Ridge Racer 4 and Jumping Flash, which are both good games, respectively. But I do want to know what the other 16 are before I even think about it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I still have a functioning PS1, not the original gray box that died, but the actual travel size PS1 that came out at the end of the life cycle. I still have a functioning one of those, and I have all of my PlayStation original games on disc still. So if I really feel the need to play it, I can always pop it out. But I tend to find that the idea of playing old games is much more enticing than the actuality of playing old games.
See,
let's talk about Nintendo's online service quick.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the NES Classic, and I've booted it all twice. And I could have resold it for like $300, and I just didn't because I had to hold on to it. And it's like,
and for $100, I know there's not a significant difference in price between $70 and $100, but in my mind, this is much more a $70 item than a $100 item.
Yeah, I agree. I know you've seen the Captain Marvel trailer. Mitchell, have you seen the Captain Marvel trailer?
I think I've seen it, but I don't remember that much. But yeah, I think I saw it.
All right. Well, I'm interested. I think it looks good. I heard a lot of people say that they were underwhelmed, and why is she punching the old lady? But I kind of think
the old lady because she has a wrinkly chin and she thinks it's a Skrull. Come on, people, it's not that hard.
I'm sure it's gonna be. Finally, PlayerUnknown Battleground looks like it's coming to PS4, according to some leaked ratings, classifications, documents. I'm actually very ready. I hope it runs better than the Xbox counterpart, which is unplayable. But we'll see. I will be interested to see if it has keyboard and mouse support, since that's something that's already a thing on the PS4 and not on the Xbox One, because it's just now getting it. Although that wasn't in the.
But to go back to the Captain Marvel trailer for half a second, can we just marvel, pun intended, at how good they are at de-aging actors?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy.
Star Wars, which is a part of the same family, couldn't get it anywhere even close to right. And yet these guys have now done several characters.
That's because Star Wars doesn't have Tony Stark.
Ah, I see. That's what it is. But, I mean, you look at that Samuel L. Jackson, and he looks like he did in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It is.
Well,
did you see the Coulson? The Coulson looked really good, too.
Coulson's dead on, but I would say Clark Gregg still looks a lot more like his younger self than Samuel L. Jackson does. But
yeah, I agree. We don't need to cover that. That it was just a cool thing I saw. I don't need to cover that either. Okay. So I think it's the only MoviePass thing that we have this week, but I wanted to talk about it. The MoviePass is trying to do another reverse stock split of 500 to 1. With any luck, it'll bounce their stock price up above 12 cents, which if any investors were smart at that point, they would sell even at a huge loss, because it's going to dip that back down to 1 cent again like it was. So, yeah, it's crazy. This is probably one of the bigger stories of the last 2 weeks, is that Disney has announced that when they do launch their streaming service, Avengers characters are going to get their own streaming series, and the two being offered up are Scarlet Witch and Loki, and other heroes will get live action. And I said in the Twitter caption here that the Loki series alone would make the subscription a no-sell win for my wife. She will watch anything she can get her hands on that has Loki in it, and so
But it can't be Hiddleston, can it?
Yes,
it can't.
Yeah. No, they said it will be the actual actors that take.
Wow.
And if they do that, I mean, who's not going to tune into that?
Yeah, I mean, the Disney streaming service was already pretty much an unfortunate reality of my existence in the future, but wow.
Yeah, I'll show, because I believe that was actually addressed in this one. If not, I saw it somewhere else. But that was the real question. We were like, oh, it's not going to be Hiddleston or whatever, and they're like, nope, it's definitely going to be. There we go. They were like, nope, it's definitely going to be. See. There's an important distinction from other Marvel small screen efforts. The actors who portrayed these heroes and villains in the films and their spin-offs are expected to play them in the streaming shows. So that is badass.
Yeah.
6 to 8 episodes apiece. And that means that, they're not releasing what the budget is, but I'm sure it's ginormous to get those actors to commit to playing for a season of something on their streaming service. But that pretty much cinches the subscription for me, personally.
Yeah.
All I'll have to say to Lexi is there is a Loki streaming series with Tom Hiddleston as Loki, and she'll be like, take money, Disney, now. If you could ask for any character, any Marvel character, to get their own TV series on Disney streaming channel, what would you ask for? I know what yours should be, Matt.
I was waiting for Mitchell.
Mitchell, what would yours be?
I'm thinking.
Well, obviously mine, I guess, as has been said, obviously, is if they could do it, because there'd probably have to be some negotiation with Sony, would be Spider-Man.
Yeah, Tom Holland, Spider-Man. Yeah, no doubt.
Yep, yeah.
God, and it would be a CW show.
Pretty much.
Yeah. You know mine. I don't even have to voice it. And now that they've acquired said group.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking characters that haven't made appearances yet, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there that's got the potential.
But I'll take the Bishop series. Show him coming in from. Whoa! What just happened to the thing?
It's all black.
That's crazy. What did you do, Mitchell?
Nothing. I did nothing. I've been thinking.
Also, Hardy broke it.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, it's better now? Oh, maybe.
I just stopped it and restarted it. I'll have to go back and find our place.
I've always kind of liked Venom as a character, but with the new movie coming out, it seems kind of tricky. And plus, again, that's under the Sony licensing, and that'd be part of like the Spider-Man show universe, because that's Venom kind of falls under that jurisdiction.
Yeah, but here's the thing both of you keep forgetting.
X-Men licensing is tricky, and then...
No, X-Men licensing isn't tricky anymore.
Well, then, I would kind of like to see like the Kitty Pryde and Nightcrawler kind of X-Men era team kind of show, if they could do it well.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because those are two of my favorite X-Men.
We were on September 18th, so we should be...
Hey, that heart is about where we were. Why are you going back before the heart?
Because it's not... No, we weren't that far yet.
No, I remember the face. I remember that.
Because we were just talking...
No.
No?
Well, then someone was scrolling.
Oh, 296. Oh, I must have started at the wrong place somehow. Because this is 297, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So AMC linked A-List with Atom Tickets and Fandango. So now you can use Fandango to reserve your 3 shows a week at no charge. And it actually still charges you 0 on Fandango, because you get it with the AMC stubs. It's pretty sweet. It just means you've got more choices of how to book your movie, which is pretty amazing. And then Cinema actually started a $29.99 unlimited Movie Pass as well. So everybody's just kicking the corpse of Movie Pass while it's down and dying. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, you know what? That's probably when I posted it to the site. That's probably what that one is that you're looking at, that you started at now, versus the one when we aired. That's probably what the difference is.
Fortnite was cited in over 200 divorce cases in just this year alone in the UK, representing 5% of all divorces in that country over the last 8 months, which is hilarious.
I think there's some shenanigans in that number, but whatever.
The Witcher pen and paper RPG came out, and it's actually looking like it's really good. I very much want to pick it up. I'm going to do so because I heart The Witcher. And Patrick Stewart has been cast as a Bosley in the new Charlie's Angels reboot.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there are multiple Bosleys apparently now. in the new expanded canon.
Okay, then.
Bosley is just a code name, and he is a Bosley, but not the Bosley for this film. He is another Bosley.
So it's like the Koenigs.
Yes, kind of. Except that they're not all related to each other. So,
Yeah.
So we had a long-spirited discussion about this, but the NES controller Joy-Cons can only be used for the online service that you have to pay for, and it cannot be used for normal Switch games, which to me is a huge missed opportunity. And why would you do that? Seriously, why?
Because buttons, there's not enough.
Yeah, they wanted to make a honest replicant of the NES controller, which means that it's nerfed as a Joy-Con because it doesn't have
just sell NES controllers. Don't sell them as Joy-Cons, right? Why would you do that?
I maintain that there's you can only get them if you're a subscriber to the service, and they're $60, and you basically have to pay for a charging stand. Yes, you can charge them hooked up to your Switch, but who would?
Predator did not do well at the movie theaters.
Really? That's totally surprising to me.
And I love Destructoid's title on this. No one wanted a crappy Predator movie, so no one went to see it. But yeah, it's a $25 million opening, which is the lowest box office ever for a movie opening in 4,000 theaters. And it didn't fare much better this last weekend either. Tetris Effect got a release date finally.
October something, right?
October 8th? Survey says November 9th, not October at all.
Oh, right number, wrong month.
Yeah, November 9th, which I cannot wait. It will be an excuse to actually hook up the PSVR because I am going to play the hell out of that game.
And it is playable not in VR also.
Yes, it is playable non-VR, but I want the VR tunnel syndrome.
I know, but just for those out there that don't have one, though. Yeah,
absolutely. If you've not checked out our new Divinity playthrough series, you should totally do that. It came up in the feed here. He calls it the Divinity 2 Hot Mess Edition. I call it Divine Divinity, the Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition playthrough. I just call it Divine Divinity for short. Lots of D's, though. YouTube Gaming is closing. Big surprise because nobody uses it because there's nothing special about it. If you look at Twitch, one of the things Twitch excels at is its integrations. You can even get games that integrate directly into your Twitch stream. And we've had a couple that we've done on our streams, which are pretty fun, where people can actively muck with your game while you're playing it. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of integrations. There's zero integration on YouTube Gaming. Basically, it was a bucket. Here's a bucket to throw all the gaming stuff in, and that's all it was. And so they are closing it down, and it will just be part of the normal YouTube service as it was before. Ubisoft made a gloriously ridiculous Assassin's Creed Amazon Echo, and I'll be damned if I don't want one, because that looks sexy as hell.
Yeah.
You can play Assassin's Creed on Alexa now, just like you can Skyrim. So now there's two major games. I'm not talking to you. Stop. Alexa, stop. I said her name. I shouldn't have said her name.
Alicia, what are those kids doing out in the street?
Dead Rising studio Capcom Vancouver has been shut down permanently by Capcom. That was the studio that made Puzzle Fighter, as well as Dead Rising. So, yeah. Dead Rising did not.
And this one was kind of out of the. This was out of the blue, and they took a major hit on this, right? Because they had stuff they had to pay out on that's not going to be developed now.
$40 million in unreleased IP contracts.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy. Then I added a bunch of stuff to playlists, which I don't know why it's posting that to Twitter, but in case you wanted to keep up with my management of our videos. Here we go. Oh yeah, I just started too high before. That's what it was. The planet Vulcan has been found years after Gene Roddenberry said there's probably one here. It's actually there, and so it's most likely going to be called Vulcan. But yeah, it just staggers my imagination how much that show managed to predict like iPads and things of that nature. It's crazy. Heisenberg compensators, so you don't turn to paste when ships go from 0 to ludicrous speed.
Those are inertial dampeners. Heisenberg compensators is what makes the transporter work.
You're right. Inertial dampeners. You're correct. Being out Star Trek by Matt today. That's all right. You can't remember names. I feel better.
That's so.
Magic the Gathering Arena Beta is opening to everyone this month. It's not today. It was supposed to be yesterday, but they are having problems with the patch, so it's not out quite yet. But if you want to download it on your PC, you can and play pretty quickly. Red Dead Redemption's 2 online mode is coming in November, so this was a big question mark of if it would even have multiplayer or how that would be structured. It will be a GTA Online type of structure. You can probably expect heists and robberies to be a part of that. I am much more interested in the game now because it will have ways for me to play with my friends online as well as the single player component. Now the wife was like, you will get it anyways, but yeah, there's that. Matt, still, are you getting Red Dead 2 or no?
Probably not, at least not initially, but the online mode is not a factor for me.
Got it. The rumor was the October PlayStation Plus games were going to be Diablo 3 and Nier. Obviously, that is not correct. We'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the interesting gaming-related news articles that flew very under the radar was that Valve and Ubisoft were fined in France for unclear customer refund policy for a decent amount of money, 147,000 euros and 188,000 euros respectively. And I will say that EU's legal teams seem to be working overtime lately. We had GDPR, and now we've got Article 13 that passed, and then we're getting individual EU states suing for customer rights. The EU's legal team seem to be really cranking over gear right now.
There's something going on there. I just don't know what it is.
Matt, did you ever watch this that I sent you?
Yeah, I'd seen that before. That wasn't new. I'd seen that before.
Did you see this, Mitchell?
Yeah, I've seen it. Maybe not exactly this one, but I've seen something.
No. We are so watching this one because this is.
Looks familiar. I think I've seen the exact thumbnail, so I'm pretty sure it's this one. Yes, I've seen this one.
All right, then I'm not going to get the copyright warning if you've seen it already. But it's amazing. I don't know how I went for a month without seeing that. It is like the best. I'm sorry. When he sees Gamora in the pavilion, the little girl Gamora, and she turns back towards him, like every anime ever, and he's all sad. It's like, God. PlayStation Now is making its games downloadable, which I still need a little more information. Like, for example, if I download Bloodborne and Bloodborne goes out of rotation on the online streaming service, do I get to keep and continue to play Bloodborne, or does it automatically get wiped from my hard drive? If the answer is I get to keep it and play it as long as I'm a subscriber of the service, suddenly PlayStation Now becomes much more attractive for the price point than having a constantly curated, rotating stream of games coming in and out of the service, to me. What about you, Matt? Anything? Does it do anything for you?
It definitely makes it more intriguing. If I were new to PlayStation and just getting my first PlayStation 4, I think this might be a good service. But for where I am at personally, I have my own PlayStation now, which is a backlog of 4 generations worth of PlayStation games that I never got around to.
Slacker.
True.
Twitch has been blocked in China.
Twitch blocked.
Yep. Which is funny because I said I would have thought it would have been the EU that blocked it first. But no, it's China. Activision is being sued in a class action lawsuit for false advertising over their shuttering of the Guitar Hero Live online service. The class action argues that they will lose 97% playability because 97% of the songs are on the online service. And for people who bought it in June of this year and then found out later in that month that, oh, here's the announcement that we're shutting down, they'll receive less than 6 months worth of gameplay for the game. So I'm not sure that I necessarily agree with the lawsuit, but it does bring up some interesting questions like what is a reasonable amount of expectation of return on an investment of a $60 game? And how long should you get to be able to play it? What's considered reasonable there? I'm interested to see. I mean, there is verbiage on the box saying that they can change what's available at any point in time without notice. So from that point, you could say, yes, they're covered. But on the other hand, when you look at it from a consumer's perspective, is that fair to a consumer? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a tricky slope, right? I mean, especially as games run more online stuff, service type things. I mean, this is the thing. People like myself still buy discs because I just assume that a library, any online library that I build up one day is just going to evaporate and disappear and leave me holding nothing but air. So it really sucks for someone that just bought the game and then get less than a year out of it for something of this nature is pretty rough. So yeah, it's a very interesting argument. It's a very, very interesting discussion to have, and I imagine it's just going to get weirder and weirder. When WoW 2 finally comes up and they shutter WoW 1, what happens to all those accounts?
And this actual, if you read the article about the guy who is actually leading the class action lawsuit, it's actually pretty dumb. Because he bought the game on discount, the game and the guitar, for like $22, and so then it becomes even more of a question of, okay, what's reasonable amount of time to play a game with a $60 game, and then is it lessened if you get it on sale? And so that there's a lot of interesting questions that are going to be hashed out in the courts here. But yeah, this will be an interesting one to track as it moves through the system. Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS4 sold a record 3.3 million copies in the first 3 days of release. And this is the statistic that blew my mind. It actually crushed Spider-Man Homecoming's opening weekend by almost $70 million. Spider-Man Homecoming.
That's revenues, not profit, but still, that is insane.
117 million for the movie in its opening weekend, 198 million for the game. So people go like, video games aren't a big deal. Yeah, they're bigger than movies when done right.
Actually, wait, how much does it take cost? How much does a movie ticket cost though versus a game?
It depends where. Anywhere from probably $7.50 to $20, depending where you're at.
Versus $60.
But this,
right.
They sold more than 3.3 million tickets. Yeah, that is definitely true.
Dragonin says he's just that he won't get to play it because it's only on PS4 and he doesn't play consoles. So yeah, it's really good. We were talking about that.
If you want, you can watch my entire playthrough on Twitch. It's still up there. Nobody's taken it down or muted anything on it yet. So,
Yep. Just Cause 4 at a developer exhibition in Europe did a 20-minute live gameplay presentation. And oh my god, the systems. Oh, the systems that they have baked into this game are ridiculous. I mean, the most ridiculous thing ever. They have biomes that are fully functioning ecosystems. They have weather event systems that are tied into the biomes. They have... you remember when we found out that you could take a raft in Zelda and you could attach the balloon fish to it and then use a paddle and you could make yourself an airship?
right.
In this video, they make a flying tank. And it is amazing. And we're not talking like, some cutesy version of a tank. We're talking like a Panzer tank that is like, should not be flying. And you can control it.
Do you fly by firing the cannon and going backwards opposite the direction you shoot? Is that how you?
No. So you have engine. So they have the Metal Gear 5 balloons that you can attach to stuff, and then you can for every. I don't even know how to start this. So the main thing of this game is the grappling hook, right? So you've got a grappling hook, and you can shoot it to something, and then you can shoot it to something else, and you can have them retract. Well, there's now mods that you can put on that thing to do other things. And one of the things that you can do is you can put those Metal Gear Solid 5 bags on it to airlift something out. And one of the mods for that mod is a rocket engine. And so, yes, as DJ Evil said, they made a team tank out of it. They basically put a bunch of mods together to create a new system to elevate this tank so that it can fly for all intents and purposes while you gun things down. It's ridiculous. If you've not got a chance to watch it, it's crazy. I'm so excited for it. The only thing I wish it did have is multiplayer, because then that would take the level of insanity to just craziness. But it's really good, and it looks beautiful. I'm super excited about it, and that's one of the must-haves for me coming up this holiday season. One of the things I will not have, because it's been taken away, is any Telltale games. Telltale, out of the blue, last week just shut down. And it's attributed to years of mismanaged. The game that has the flying tank is Just Cause 4, which is a Square Enix powered game. It has full tornadoes that you can actually weaponize, which are pretty awesome too. No problem. But yes, Telltale shut down. There was word at first that they were going to keep a skeleton crew on hand to finish the final season of The Walking Dead. That was then retracted. There is a skeleton crew finishing Minecraft story mode, and that's it. They have since removed, and this is so new that it's actually not on the news feed. Just happened right before the show tonight. They have removed purchase of the season pass from all services except the Switch, I believe. So you can no longer buy the season pass because you'd end up buying all of the individual installments with a small discount. They are now saying that episode 2 will be the last one. They are working on trying to get another publisher to finish the remaining episodes, and they will have an update on that before the end of the week. But there were a couple reports of individual companies stepping in to help funding to get the remaining stuff out, but nothing concrete as of yet. The worst part about this is that they gave their staff 0 notification up front, no severance, and I think this is really going to draw into focus the working conditions in which video game developers currently exist in. There were reports of multiple individuals who were there till 3 a.m. the night before because it's the middle of crunch time trying to get an episode out, who then were notified, who still came in at normal time the next day and were summarily told that they were being let go. It's very upsetting in terms of you know. And then there's a lot of people who say, hey, no, if you get funding, you should pay your staff instead of continuing to make a product that, you guys mismanaged.
Yeah. There was a post from Ubisoft saying anyone that wanted to come for basically a job fair day to Ubisoft, it sounded like they were reaching out to those devs. So that was nice to see. I'm actually kind of surprised Dontnod hasn't made a move. I mean, this is kind of their wheelhouse, right? And they've got a better engine than Telltale did. So you think they would be trying to reach out and grab some of these devs and possibly looking at trying to snag up the licenses. Because I think they would be the natural, intuitive choice to carry on that legacy. But then again, they may not be interested in getting that big either, because they've got their own stuff they're doing.
And Drogonen said he read that some of those Let Go have filed lawsuits, and there's actually a class action suit because the state of California requires that employers give 60 days minimum termination notice if you're over a certain size company, and they are most definitely are. And this is actually crazy because I don't know someone who works at Telltale firsthand, but I have secondhand connections to a lot of the folks that work there. And I talked about this with some of my firsthand connections who do know folks there, and they're all scrambling right now. So hopefully they can all find something stable. And oh, sorry, I shouldn't have knocked on wood because somebody's at the door. Lay down, buddy. That's good stuff right there. So yeah, that was a huge shock. I was actually really looking forward to the last season of The Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us 2 because the first one was so good as well.
Yeah. I mean, I was looking to Batman, second Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah, I better make sure I go and download all the ones that I can before they're removed. I guess they'd stay up there so they can... Yeah, I guess I've already paid for that stuff. Mystery Science Theater 3000's new season is getting a very fitting launch day, which will be Thanksgiving, which is appropriate because that will mark the 30th anniversary of the first airing of the very first show on Minneapolis Public Television. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing that Netflix did to pay tribute to the show. And if you've not watched the Netflix series, it is very, very good. I very much enjoy it. And I love that we can live in a world where there is both Rift Tracks and Mystery Science Theater 3000 coexisting and doing their own thing. That's all I got to say.
True enough.
Also, we started another new series last night. Actually, it was the first episode of Star Trek Dissonance. It is a live-action pen and paper role-playing game that will be broadcast at 7 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday. And we put together a little video, and that's on the news feed as well. And then yesterday, Matt, I felt like you yesterday because it all came crashing down onto my head that CRPGs are my favorite, and we've not really had a lot of them since the 90s. Back in the Gold Box days, that was the last big push. Baldur's Gate 2, that type of stuff, and then Pillars of Eternity came out a few years back, and that was really good. And then Divinity Original Sin came out, and it became like one of my favorites of all time. And now, Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition launched a month ago on PS4. Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is the CRPG / town building game based on actual Pathfinder rule system, dropped yesterday, and Pillars of Eternity 2 is coming out for the PS4 in November. We're like in a second golden age of CRPGs right now, and there's no way I can play them all. I already purchased Pathfinder with the understanding that I am not going to get to it probably for at least 6 months. But I have to have it. I really want to boot it up. I just haven't had a chance yet. Did you get a chance to look at the trailer for it?
I did not.
That's not just me, Mitchell.
Problem with
he is Nomar Arigato, right?
Yeah, he went Mr. Roboto on us for a bit.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Am I better?
Yes, you're better now.
For the time being.
Okay. I was just saying, I haven't watched the Pathfinder trailer, but we're having a similar problem with Metroidvanias right now too. There's 5 that just hit.
And Castlevania Symphony of the Night and Rondo
of Blood.
Rondo of Blood, yes, is coming out as well. Yeah. I'm super excited about this. Yeah.
Did that guy have a bear in his party?
Yes. And anytime you show me a punk rock orc, I'm immediately intrigued, right? As a potential. Go ahead, Mitchell.
It kind of reminds me of Diablo, kind of.
So the difference is it's
graphically
a turn-based, but yes, it is a 3/4 perspective, but it's not an action RPG. Well, actually, so this one is more of an action RPG. This one you can actually play without pausing it if you want to. But I'm one of those people that when I have games like that, I will hit the spacebar, pause it, figure out, and micromanage everyone as to what I want them to do. Divinity Original Sin 2 is actually the farthest thing away from Diablo possible because it's actually turn-based with a certain amount of action points a la Xenogears style. That you have to spend for each character's actions throughout the turn. So, and the difference there is, and Drogodan says the only thing that he really wants it and he loves the old go back game, but he's worried there's too much depth. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about because there's no such thing as too much depth. I think it's amazing. Now, I will say, Drogodan, if you don't have Divinity Original Sin 2, I would actually spend your money on that first because I have played so much of that game. I can tell you that in and throughout, everything is voiced in Divinity 2. The storylines are great. The voice acting is the best I've ever seen in a role-playing game. The choices are fun. Make sure you take Pet Pal because the animals that speak in the game, which everyone does, are amazing, and you get probably about a fourth of your quests in the game from animals, which is another amazing kind of system. But yeah, I'd highly recommend that one first, and then if you've played that or decided it's not for you, then go for Pathfinder Kingmaker. But yeah, I'm super excited to get completely lost in its systems and do the same thing that I've done with Divinity, which is started over 197 times because I want to keep tweaking my builds and getting it right. Yeah. But you can also do that in Divinity. And Divinity has multiplayer, so that's also a benefit. If you want to play with friends. If you're Matt and hate other people, then go with Pathfinder Kingmaker because it is single player only.
That's what I want to hear.
I know. That's why I said it. But yeah, I can't believe that we've gotten 3 just amazing CRPGs in the space of 3 months.
Yeah, and they're probably, if you just play them through, they're probably a couple 100 hours apiece.
Correct. And that's why I'm I know I'm not going to touch Pathfinder. That's not true. I'll break down and I'll start to do a character. The third one is Pillars of Eternity 2. That one came out just, I think, a month before Divinity on PC. And it's coming out on consoles in November.
I don't know what it is about that one, but it it doesn't do anything for me. Just looking at the stuff for it, something about it just doesn't sit right with me.
So I think the second one was them trying to iterate, and I think it's actually one of those things where people are going to like it or they don't. The first one was very safe, and I really enjoyed the first one. The second one is all about pirates and being at sea, and so it's a lot of Divinity style battles at sea, or Pathfinder style battles at sea, ship to ship, getting onto the other ship, then taking out their cannons and that stuff. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there. And yes, you do stuff off the ships also, but I could see how that might be off-putting. To be honest, I'm not as excited about that one, but I'm not dumb, and it's still going to be a good CRPG that will take me probably 200 hours to finish. So, yeah. And it's coming to consoles, so that's an even bigger bonus. I don't know if Pathfinder is going to come to consoles or not. It was a Kickstarted game, but I haven't seen anything about whether or not that was one of the stretch goals is to bring it to console. But that's all right. I'll test it out if it is coming to consoles and let you know how it is beforehand. I'm sure it's going to be great. Valve released a really interesting set of analytics that show how many people are using what kinds of controllers on Steam. And since I thought this would be an interesting thing to share, the largest are still holding on to their Xbox 360 pads and using them with their PCs. 27.2 million, which represents 45% of all players on Steam. But PS4 has a much more sizable chunk than I would have thought. They're actually number 2 with 12.2 million, or 20% of the total pie. And that's pretty interesting. What kills me is that people are hooking up Super Nintendo controllers and PS2 controllers to it as well. That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Yeah. I'm surprised that the PS4 is outnumbering the Xbox One, especially since basically all the Xbox One controllers say, Microsoft Windows 10 and Xbox One. They even put like the Windows in front of Xbox One, I think, on the controller box now.
They sure do. Yeah,
but those old 360 wired controllers take forever to die. So
I thought it was interesting to see that the Steam controllers have actually gained enough. They're now the biggest of the other pie, which 1.5 million is not bad, considering that's a pretty sizable chunk of that 8% that falls into the other category. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting study, and I'm actually surprised that they released those numbers, because they've been kind of clamping down on numbers recently, so it's kind of crazy. One of the biggest pieces of news today: crossplay is finally coming to cross-platform plays finally coming to PS4, starting with Fortnite today. Well, you say you don't care, but I, as a person,
about the Fortnite part.
Yeah, I as a person who actually have played and somewhat enjoy Fortnite, it's not my favorite, but it's still somewhat fun. I wanted to play it on my Switch. I can't play it on my Switch unless I create a whole nother account and lose all my stuff and all this. Yes, I could create another account and play it. So it's not like I can't play it. But all the stuff that I have, I cannot bring over for no particular reason. So I'm actually glad that they're...
But isn't it all cosmetic?
Yes, but that makes a difference.
Don't mess with people's costumes, man. They'll cut you. They'll cut you.
Well, and for other games, it's not just costumes, right? So
right.
Drogodan is super excited about Warframe. He wants it to be cross-platform because that adds more players that he can play with and against, which I get.
I think this is a bigger deal for smaller market multiplayer games, right? I mean, to maximize the pool, and there's a difference between the issue you're talking about and crossplay. That's we have to realize the issue that kicked this all off actually has absolutely nothing to do with crossplay, and has to do with multi-platform linking, which technically is a different thing. Now, this cross-play beta that they're doing, starting with Fortnite, does include cross-platform linking as well. So now with this, you can do what you were talking about. And, oh, by the way, you can play with other people. I believe it's an option you have to turn on. By default, you'll only get other PlayStation members. You have to turn on an option that says include cross-platform people, I believe. With Fortnite, I don't know that you're really going to see that much of a difference because the PlayStation community on it is huge enough. I don't know that you really need PC and Xbox and whatever. But I think with smaller games, it's going to make a much bigger difference.
Yeah, and I think Drogodan says one of the issues he sees is that Warframe has platform unique things like frame skins and such, and I think that's really going to come down to the health of the game in question as to whether or not they want to commit resources to do that. Because if they're making plenty of money from those distinct channels, then they may not see a reason to mix the pools. But if they are, like, for example, not that they'll do it because they've already not done it, but Star Trek Online, right? If you can sit in the queues forever for certain instances. They could, at this point, feasibly say, "Oh, okay, we're not seeing enough player traction from these niche console markets, and we want to include them all together to play with each other and the PCs." They could do that now. Now it's an option, at least. Before, it's not even been an option. So it's really going to be developer-centric and developer-specific as to whether or not they want to do this. For Fortnite, it makes complete sense because they aren't doing transactions through Sony anyways. And that was the big holdout, is that Sony wanted the 30% cut out of whatever gets sold through the PlayStation Store. Well, now they have an option to where they can sign up and purchase through the PlayStation Store still, or they can sign up for a Fortnite account and do it through Fortnite's website and not get the 30% out. So yeah.
Sounds fun.
I don't think it's bad business for Sony to do this.
No,
it's definitely a PR move, if nothing else. I mean,
to resolve their previous PR move.
Their previous 7 PR moves. The PlayStation Plus free games for October are not Neo and Diablo 3. They're Friday the 13th and some other game I never heard of, Lays or something.
And I could have swore Friday the 13th was like effectively nerfed.
No.
Something that happened. Like I could have swore. Was there a similar game that had something happen then?
No, Dead by Daylight's really its strongest competitor, and they're both going strong.
I thought I remember they lost some license or lost something that like meant half of their content went away or something. But I'm remembering something. I just guess I had the wrong target for it.
Yeah, Laser League. I've never heard of it. So,
but it's multiplayer only. This is the first time that I am aware of that I remember that both of the lead titles are multiplayer only options.
Yeah. I mean, I'll check it out. I mean, it's from Roll7, and their Ollie stuff controls pretty well, and I really like Not a Hero, so I'll definitely check it out. But it's definitely not anything I've ever heard of. I could see why people might be upset about this crop this month. I don't think they're... I mean, yeah.
It's not necessarily bad, but it's definitely a certain target, right? I'm interested to try The Bridge. That looks like an interesting puzzle game. And 2064 Read Only Memories is a game that I've toyed with the idea of picking up off and on again. That's a kind of a cyberpunk adventure game. So I mean those two I think are ones that I will try to work. I didn't like Rocket Birds 1, so I don't know that I'll mess with 2, but I might download it just to try it.
I've heard good things about Here They Lie on the PSVR, so I'll definitely.
I didn't like it, but
oh, you didn't like it? Okay.
No, and I haven't tried Knowledge is Power, so. And I don't play
Here They Lie, the Gold Lady game.
Yeah, that was the Gold Lady game. Yeah, but you don't like anything that even remotely resembles scary.
Shh. They don't need to know that.
You did make it all the way through Alien 1, though, so I was proud of you.
Well, that's different. Games are more immersive than films.
But but you
have to remember your fear of horror films goes back to that night you spent at what's his face's house watching Gremlins when you were like 8.
Shush.
Really?
Shush you.
Really? Gremlins?
Shut
Start him badly.
Shut up. I don't like horror, okay? Not my strong suit. I have a good sense of self-preservation.
So today, Facebook announced Oculus Quest, which is a fully wireless VR headset, no computer required, no anything required. It is supposed to be a full hand tracking, full immersion, full movement tracking VR headset for $399. The price seems right. What's
interesting,
that?
But until
I'm confused by this. I mean, is this basically going to run the same version of VR stuff that runs on like the
Rift?
Samsung VR, or are we talking about?
They're
because I mean,
saying it will be what's on the Rift.
Wow.
Which I mean, for me, it means that they have to be taking just a massive hit to put this thing out at $400.
But where are they start? I mean, is it streaming? Because that's going to be a definite limiter if they're streaming the titles.
They're not. They're saying that it's the no PC required. It's all built in. Now, I don't know if they said there's any specs on like how much it holds or what anything of that is, but
the thing is going to generate so much heat. People's eyeballs are going to be melting out of their face.
You're robotoing again, but let's see, blah blah blah, hand presence, blah blah blah. See, and the crazy part is that includes the touch controllers. That $399 includes the touch controller. That will make it the cheapest standalone system for VR on the market. I mean, this is their mass market push.
Well, until I can have full dive VR a la SAO, I probably will have nothing to do with VR.
There are games like SAO that are already out on VR.
No, like literally from like the VR headsets and capability from SAO. Until there is technology of that capability, I probably will not touch it.
He's very animated about this.
He's in the machine. Yeah, no, he's very. I've always maintained until it gets to that level where it's holodeck or that simple, where you don't have to worry about having a controller or a headset, or even if you do have the headset on, but until your body moves just because you think about it moving, it'll never truly take off, I don't think, into a mass market way. But this is an interesting move.
It's an interesting. It's a move in the right direction.
People's eyeballs.
64 gigs of onboard storage, and it says that it will not play Rift games or Rift software natively at launch. So I'm guessing it's somewhere between a phone and a Rift in terms of power. But 64 gigs of onboard storage, that's not bad. That's actually quite a few. I mean, there are very few titles that are super meaty on
intriguing.
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't said what the memory is or the processing power, so that's still like out there. But I'm pretty interested to see where that ends up. The fact that it comes with the touch controllers is what impresses me the most, because those touch controllers are amazing. And the fact that they're working that in for $399, it just tells me that even if it is, let's say it was a smartphone, right? What smartphone do you know that you could actually get for $399 today? They've got to be taking a hit on every single unit sold, but I just think they're seeing it as a loss leader to get people into the ecosystem, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. Now, HTC has their wireless adapter coming out for $300 by itself. That's $300 on top of the $899 for the kit plus the cost of a PC. So I'm very interesting. I'm very interested to see the difference in the two, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, there's that one. I did put that on the news that they removed The Walking Dead. This is probably the craziest thing that I've seen all week. An eagle-eyed person snapped a copy of off of a website of the Red Dead Redemption 2 PS4 Pro bundle, and they noticed that it says way down here in this fine print that you will need only 105 gigs of storage space for Red Dead Redemption 2. If you had an original PS4 like I do, and have the original disk drive in it like I don't, that would only be a third of your entire disk space for one game.
Only a third.
Only a third. That seems really egregious to me.
Better be
cares.
a big game.
Nobody cares.
Disk is cheap.
Nobody cares anymore.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Fine. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think consumers want to care, but in the end of the day, they don't, and developers definitely don't care. That's just
that's obvious. 105 gigs for a game. Come on, that's like 2 ultra high disc Blu-ray discs, ultra high definition Blu-ray discs. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I miss any news? Is there anything else you guys want to tack on?
There was a Kingdom Hearts trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 that dropped at JPX or whatever, the Japanese game show, kind of like PSX or something like that. That happens in Japan. They dropped a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer.
Confirm some of the English voice actors too.
Yep.
But Joel Osment will be returning.
It's focused on San Francisco for the trailer.
Yeah, I did see that. Okay.
Which looks just like the freaking movie.
Yep. Base 06.
Which is crazy. But yeah, and we also got a little bit more of a look at some of the story elements and stuff. But yeah, more Kingdom Hearts 3 stuff is always good.
Yes, it is.
There was an article that Devil May Cry 5 will have microtransactions that allow you to progress quicker.
Wow.
I also saw something about a Mega Buster for Nero.
I also saw a piece of news that said that the guy that is creating it really wanted to do a DMC 2, but instead is doing Devil May Cry 5.
Right.
I wouldn't mind a DMC 2.
I wouldn't mind one either. It was a strong game. But yeah.
Drawn to Death is finally shutting down.
Drawn to Death? Wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was still going, but it's going to shut down in March. That was horrible.
That was no calling all cars.
No, it was not.
Which is an online multiplayer game that you actually played with me and enjoyed. I'm just throwing that out.
Yes. They
does
happen every once in a while.
Yes.
Nickelodeon Kart Racers was announced. There will be slime. Did everybody watch the Bumblebee trailers and either love or cringe all the way through?
Let's do that, because to be honest, I have not. YouTube.com and Bumblebee trailer.
It's right there. It's right there.
Right there.
There was a trailer though, like some sort of crossover that I saw between
I'm Charlie Watson. I'm 18. Today, actually. Is the Beetle for sale?
It's yours, kid. Happy birthday.
Seen it?
Oh my god. What are you?
So you have no idea where he came from?
No idea.
Well,
Here's the deal. People can be terrible about things they don't understand. From now on, the only person you can show yourself around is me. Oh, I'm good. No, I'm good, thanks.
Oh, triple changer.
there's a war raging on our planet. If this criminal isn't found, that war may find its way here.
Is there anyone that can help you? Do you have a family? Oh, who would me?
They're calling an army.
I've seen firsthand what these things really are.
Bumblebee, there is only one way to end this war. You must protect Earth and its people.
Take it down!
My back, me!
This is how we stop them.
You've got me. And I'm not going anywhere. God, I'm so screwed.
Hey.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's tough.
It doesn't. It could be just the perfect balance of serious and goofy.
It could be.
It could.
I want it to be good.
I
So
actually am super pleased as punch to see the Gen 1 Transformers in there. I mean,
Yeah, no, that's the
Sound
killer thing.
wave.
It's like this is in the same universe as the existing Transformers movies, but yet we're seeing classic G1 versions of characters that we've never seen before.
Yeah, Starscream,
Optimus,
Shockwave.
Shockwave, Soundwave.
yep.
Yeah,
So,
heavy triple changers in there.
Yeah. Also, I was saying about as the video started, I remembered that there was a trailer or something I saw for a crossover event for Final Fantasy 15 and
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
no, not that. It was another. I don't remember what it was. Give me like 5 seconds here, and I'll find it. But
thanks, best extreme killer gamer. Same to you. Have a good evening. If you go to
and work. Terra Wars.
yes. So that's all the same. That it's a crossover of Tomb Raider, Terra Wars, and a couple other things, if I remember right.
Okay, I just saw the Terra Wars and the.
Which is interesting
Final
because Terra Wars is actually a mobile game that was produced by Umatsu, I think. Whoever the original creator of Final Fantasy was. And it's actually a really fun mobile game. So if you haven't played it, you should check it out. Patreon. Well, this brings us to the part of the show then where we like to thank all of the folks that support us, and thank you for watching tonight. If you'd like to support us, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/gamersledge, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name on every single show that we do. At this point, we like to actually thank everybody that's pledged at the $5 level and above. So thank you, Bobby. Thank you, John. Thank you, Naomi. Thank you, Patrick. And thank you, Justin. And that's going to bring us then to final thoughts, and we will go first to Mitchell, final thoughts.
I want Kingdom Hearts now.
You've got a long wait, isn't it? Like Q1 of next year?
Yeah.
It's February.
I don't know. Too long.
I'm really tempted by that $100 pack because it gets you everything right now and then 3 when it comes out.
Oh, this is kind of a small side note, but there was a theorized leak, or at least there was a leak that there's going to be another Square Enix character in Smash, and there is some people theorizing that'll be a Kingdom Hearts character, more specifically Sora. But again, only theories. I would want it though. But I would prefer Riku or Terra, but less likely to happen. But continue with your Patreon.
No. You're up. Final thoughts, Matt.
This visual
No.
can you
try again.
Oh,
Yeah.
try again.
There you go.
Hello?
Yes, try again.
Try again. Okay. Am I on the, yeah, okay, it looks like I'm on the thing, so this is a visual. So, as if the game itself wasn't enough, the Spider-Man from the game is now a canonical comic universe. Spider-Geddon Zero features the universe and Spider-Man from the game. I believe, if I understand correctly, this is actually a sequel to the game. So Spider-Geddon Zero came out today. Haven't read it yet. Spider-Man is the only, well, all of the Spider books are the only ones I'm caught up on and behind on everything else. But yeah, so if you enjoyed it, Christos Gage, that's the first name I couldn't think of earlier, was Christos, wrote this. He's the one that co-wrote the story for Marvel Spider-Man with Insomniac. So,
and my final thought of the evening is actually an interesting thing that Daniel brought up, and I think is a very valid point, is that there should be multiplayer in Spider-Man, and you should get to play as the different Spider-Verse Spider people. You should, even if they're not playable in the game, you could have somebody that's Spider-Gwen, you could have somebody that's yeah, and man, thinking about 5 people or 4 or 5 people zipping around together doing the missions together is kind of a cool idea. It's kind of fun. I like that idea. Mitchell hates it, but Matt's considering it.
I kind of expect something like in the sequel.
Yeah, I expect something, especially if they can figure out a way to monetize it as more download content.
Yeah.
That's going to bring us then to our final thought of the week, which is a random piece of wise advice to carry over till next we meet. Matt.
Yeah.
What do you get, or what do you do when your shoes get holes in them?
I don't know. What do you do when your shoes get holes in them?
Reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Until next week, game on.
Game on.
Game on.